They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. The unburied dead are coming back to life, seeking human victims.
Welcome to a podcast from Beneath. This week I am joined by actress Jordan Elizabeth Gelber. Jordan, how's it going?
It's going pretty good,
Pretty
quarantine.
good. Quarantine, yeah. Are you staying safe?
Yeah, staying safe, staying in 23 hours a day. It's really exciting.
Yeah, tell me about it. So we're going to start off. This is my default question that I ask every guest comes on. What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, wow. Oh God. That sounds really lame. I don't know if it's considered a horror movie. I try to be more like a suspense movie. I love The Cell.
The Cell? I would consider that horror.
But I think like OG horror movie. I haven't seen it in like probably 20 years, but like Chucky or something. or I really wanted to watch Puppet Master when I was a kid, but I never did. Oh no, you know what? Forget it. I would say the first Nightmare on Elm Street with baby Johnny Depp. I will say that would be my horror movie favorite.
That is a good one. Most people that come on here default to Halloween, but
yeah, I don't know. Halloween. I didn't really get into the franchise of Halloween until I saw like Halloween H2O, and then by then I feel like it was the uniqueness of why all those movies back in like the 80s were so kitschy and like had that feel to it. I feel like it was lost by then. And I really wasn't into it. And then when I found out that the mask was a William Shatner mask, I really just couldn't look at it the same.
Right.
I was like, I don't know. Being a filmmaker, I feel like I'm really spoiled. So certain films, unless the story's really there, I kind of like sometimes tune out. And I just can see what's coming. So I think some stuff, not so much. I'm so jaded. It's so bad.
So listen, what's your favorite genre of film?
Oh, that's a really good question. I love fantasy and like sci-fi and fantasy. I love stuff like that. I love like epic storytelling. I used to be really into books when I was a kid. So I love epic storytelling. But I love a good like suspenseful film, because it's like reading a good book or a good comic or something.
Right. What made you want to be an actress?
Oh, wow. I've wanted to be an actress since I was like 8. I loved putting on like stories and telling stories. I'm an only child, so I was alone a lot as a kid. And the way that I would like engage with my parents, I would put on these little shows. And the minute that I knew what like an actor was, I always wanted to do it. I just loved being able to morph into different people and understand the thought process of other people and how you can experience another life almost, and like the different flavors and the different thought processes, and it really kind of helps you see how the mind ticks. I love really looking into stuff like that.
How do you prepare for roles? Like how do you when you're playing, you find out what the character is, how do you prepare? And
it's a good question. I think it really depends on the role. Some stuff I would say is really kind of cut and dry. You get a script and I'll memorize it. I memorize fairly well, so I try to like read it over once over when I get it, and then very close to the day of shooting or maybe the theater and film is very different. But like if it's a film project or a TV project, usually I try to really memorize the day before. I know it sounds really bad, but to me, I like keeping it really fresh and taking off the page. So like I'll understand the character backstory and I'll glance through the script and stuff and really understand what's going on before my scenes and my moments. But I like to keep the text really fresh, and I memorize really fast. So for me and my acting technique, it really works. But when it comes to theater, I love rehearsals. So I really love seeing how many different ways you can put a character on its feet and make it live in different capacities. And when you're doing theater, you work sometimes in more of an ensemble, or there's other people who are on stage with you at the same time. When on a film, it's much more intimate. You can have a lot more smaller choices. So I love the breath of fresh air of opening to bigger choices. So I love really kind of exploring arbitrary ideas in both my rehearsal processes, but it's very different for me for theater versus film.
Do you like stick to the script, or do you like to improv a little bit, or?
I love improving. I think to me, I improv and like I improv a lot in my everyday life. I probably annoy the crap out of my friends, but when it's like theater, I do a lot of improv because there's a lot of ways that you can play with the dialogue. It really depends on the screenwriter or the playwright how by rote you really need to do things. If the director gives you free rein to improv, maybe it's like a physical improv or even just like a wordy improv. It really just depends on who's helming the piece and the freedom that the kind of puppet master gives you in terms of how much freedom you have with the script or things like that. But a lot of the time on film and TV, I sometimes have found there's more free rein to like say things differently or experience things differently. But I work with a lot of different like playwrights and writers who are like, I'm giving you the idea. I'm happy you're just breathing life into my character. So it really depends though. Some people are very strict, but I do love improv.
All right. Now, were you in a band?
Was I in a band?
Yeah.
I never was in a band. I always wanted to be in a band. I played guitar poorly. I just want to say that my guitar teacher is awesome, but I could not. I get easily distracted, so I was not very good at practicing. But I played guitar, and my guitar teacher and singing teacher had like a rock camp every summer. So they would put a bunch of students together to like write a song in a week and like perform it at their like recital concert at the end of the year. So I had a few chances of doing that. I always wanted to be in a band. My goal, music was my first love. I wanted to be a musician before I wanted to be an actor. I'd probably say the same time, but music has always been a huge part of my life. I always wanted to be a rock star. My goal was to be like in a Runaways cover band. That was like my big dream. So,
now, were your parents like supportive of you being an actress?
I think it's different now than when I was younger. I mean, people creating content today is such a much more quick process. So to parents around the world, I think they could see how you can really show more tangible nuggets in your career. But when I was younger, my parents were supportive of me being creative. But when they realized that I was really looking at a career choice, they were like, I don't know. So they've always been supportive in the sense of having creative expression. Now they're exceptionally supportive in everything that I do. When I brought my mom to my first big thing I booked a commercial, and I brought my mom to set, and it finally clicked into her that like, not only am I good at this, but like people like paid me to do it. So,
Right.
but no, my parents are really supportive. They really are like, they can tell how much I love it. And I think if for your child, the one thing that you want is them to love what they do. So I love what I do. Yeah, so they're supportive. I went to two different high schools. I went to half day performing arts high school, half day to regular high school. So they always knew I wanted to act and perform, and they're always supportive in me feeding my mind as a creative. But when I was like, no, this is what I want to go to school for, and this is all the stuff, they're like, what?
So what school did you go to?
For college?
Yeah, I mean, did you go for acting or?
So I went to Marymount Manhattan College, and that's where I graduated with Melissa Benoist, who's currently Supergirl.
Nice.
She was in my ballroom dancing class. I did not go to school for acting. It's probably one of the biggest regrets of my career. I got accepted to a lot of different schools, but I always wanted to be in New York. And at the time, I thought the only New York schools were like Tisch and Fordham, all the big name schools you hear about that were like a big college school, not just a conservatory. And I didn't get into them because I didn't have the grades at the time. But Marymount accepted me, and I decided that if I was going to act, I was going to go do it because I already been studying it like 6 hours a day for 3 years in my performing arts high school. So I figured if I wanted to act, I would go do it, and I would study something else. So I studied communication arts and graphic design. I was a double major, double minor in college. So I acted all through college professionally.
Nice. What was it about Legit that made you want to direct it?
Well, Legit, I wrote, produced, and directed it. It was for a client of mine. She was a fellow actress. Her name's Eve Austin. She puts together a lot of amazing productions, and she was working closely with Actors Green Room, which is a studio, like an actors like collective educational studio kind of classes thing. and there's a really bad description, but it's this place in New York City where a lot of actors come to take classes and one-on-ones and stuff like that. And they were hosting a 72-hour film challenge. And I had been working with her producing and writing on one of her original shows. And she's like, I would love you to do this. I already have in mind who I want to get involved. And my goal is that I really want to play a madam. That's what I did, something different out of my wheelhouse I want to play. And so we wrote it and created it, and we did it in 72 hours. We wrote, directed, and edited it and submitted it, and it was great.
Nice. It sounds like fun to do it in such a short time. Do you think that helped or hindered it at all?
I love obstacles of any capacity. I feel like a lot of the time, if we don't give ourselves some sort of deadline, things become lax. So having the obstacle of trying to find a crew and they cast, she pretty much knew who she wanted to bring on board. She'd already spoken to her friends that if she did this, that would she be a part of it? So those things were still together, but like getting the locations and finding unique relationships to leverage and stuff like that, that was a lot of fun. Being able to, I like always saying, like, build a better mousetrap. So being in a situation where we had to find another way to get out of it and become successful from it was a wonderful challenge. I don't know if I would do that again. I think if I had a smaller crew and was going to do something more like guerrilla style, I would probably do it again. But in terms of that, I feel like for me, there was like a lot of cast members, which I appreciate. I love all of them. I'm friends with all of them, but I would have had less cast and focused more on cinematic and storyline options. But that's just me.
Well, now you can try to maybe do like a 72-hour quarantine film challenge.
Right. Every day a quarantine challenge. I feel that's been my hobby, is trying to see how much content can you create or be a part of while we're in this like situation where we have all this time to just make stuff.
All right. Tell us about Star Baby Enterprises.
So Star Baby Enterprises is my baby. I've been the CEO and founder of Star Baby Enterprises and now Star Baby Network. Star Baby Enterprises is a marketing and production firm. We specialize in creating and curating content at a grassroots level for distribution. So we work on both the marketing and digital marketing and outsourcing end of pretty much everything. And then on the production end, we have an in-house production team. We create content for our clients. We provide a lot of strategic marketing solutions through video content, because video is truthfully king right now. We work with a lot of different personal brands, kind of presenting their platform, whether it's like having webinars or doing PDFs or digital ads or website development, SEO, etc. We do pretty much everything, and being a one-stop shop really allows us to provide unique solutions for our clientele, because we're able to see the entire through line of what they're looking for. And now the big thing that we do in 2020 is we actually build television networks. So we launched our own television network, Star Baby Network, in April. And we did a soft launch because it's still in beta. Originally, we were going to watch it on Roku and Apple TV, but we decided to put it up online first so everyone could access it, not people with just those memberships to those devices. But yeah, the great thing is that I wanted to work and do something that I could create my own schedule, and I could provide opportunities and really be a booster pack to a lot of people that I saw that were extremely talented, but they just were getting lost in the noise of everything out there. And I really felt like I could navigate that for them and really provide a service of kind of being like, let me help you and let me take you from point A to point B and show you how to do it, so then you could take yourself to the next level. And if you need my help, I'm still there. So we do a lot in terms of marketing and production, but for the most part, I think the coolest thing that we're doing, especially as an actor, is I'm helping a lot of people with films and influencer content, even in podcasts and television shows and web series, and helping them get distribution on major networks. That's something that we're doing.
All right. I think my co-host is finally going to jump on here. So
great profile picture.
Yeah. So we'll let him get in here. We always have a problem with audio, not starting right away.
It's Zoom, man.
Yeah.
Zoom's just crashing on all of us. Everyone's taking advantage of it. So.
All right. So there it is. Let's see if he can hear us.
I can hear you.
Out of his background
okay.
now.
Yeah.
Hello. Sorry,
Hello.
I'm late.
How dare you? I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Your mic's a little bit loud there. You might want to turn down just a hair.
All right. Let's see.
Not as cool as you guys. I'm leaving with my headphones and my laptop. You guys got a sweet ass mic. And they got the whole buffer thing on it. I wanted to get a Yeti mic shipped to me, but like, because a lot of my clients, I tell them all like buy a Yeti mic, just start talking into it. But Yeti's so backlogged right now on back orders. So
everybody's
it's like,
trying to get one. Everybody's home now, so they're trying to get the
yeah,
best mic they can have.
yeah. Everyone's like buying Yeti mics and investing in Zoom and StreamYard and just all the camera equipment for their iPhone. I feel like that's what everyone's doing right now.
All right, so Aaron, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and move on to my next question that I had.
Cool.
We're going to go back a little bit. So what was the
All the
experience like working on Blood Night?
Blood Night, wow. Oh God,
it's a
that's
horror
like
movie podcast, so I got to bring it up.
I mean, you have to. All the horror movies I've done, I've been in different capacities. I still haven't gotten to be like one of those screaming girls that gets killed and gets a lot of fake blood on me, but I'm crossing my fingers to have that moment. I love vampire films, so hopefully I'm just going to say it out there. I'm in a vampire film soon. Anyway, back to your question. Blood Night, wow. I did that so long ago. I was like in my early 20s. Yeah, was I 20 even? Yeah, what year was that? So long ago.
I don't remember now.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. We'll figure it out. It's definitely, yeah. Wow. Okay. So that film, I wasn't in the film. I was in a unique promo for the film that was like within the film. It was like a very meta. It was a film.
Oh, okay.
Film, I think. So we were like a news, there was like apparently a bunch of killings, and we were a bunch of like kids together at a party being interviewed about what was going on. And so me and this kid, Brian, and that I've been friends with since then, we played boyfriend and girlfriend, and we were getting interviewed about what was going on. And all I remember about that shoot was that it was so long. We were on set for so long. We were in the middle of Long Island somewhere. They took us from a van from the city to where we were going to be. And not only was it so long, it was so cold. So we were there, I think, till like 2:00 in the morning, and it was just freezing, and we were miserable. But when we finally got to film, it was fun. But for the most part, it was pretty crazy. It's so funny though, because my agent, Roger Paul, he was involved in that film, because he represents a lot of people in that film, and I didn't know him yet. But it was very funny how that all came full circle.
So you didn't get to work with like Bill Moseley or anyone?
No, I'm not cool enough to work with Bill Moseley. Okay. Bill Moseley's like super cool. I know.
Yeah, I've met him twice. He's a really cool guy.
Hey, don't rub it in.
I'm not. So we'll go from that to what was it like to work on The Americans?
Oh God, The Americans was probably one of the most unique experiences of my life. I loved that show so much. I really wanted to be on that show. It kind of happened in a weird way. I didn't have like a huge part. I mean, I didn't even unfortunately have any lines, but what was unique is I went to set. I had just started dyeing my hair blonde. It was like a big moment for me. And I went to set just because I would just want the experience of working on it. Sometimes you just want to be on set because acting jobs can sometimes become few and far between. So it was like in the winter, and they were like looking for extras, and I was like, sure, yes, definitely. And they asked me to come in, and I was the only like blonde on set they had. This was right after, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the show, but spoiler alert for everyone listening. One of the main characters was a secretary at the FBI office, and she was about to leave. She was being shipped off to another country, and I'll leave it there. So I became the head of the FBI's new secretary. So they gave me her desk. So right there in front of it, I got to work with so many amazing people. I got to work with Noah Emmerich, who is an amazing, just phenomenal actor. I get to meet him. He was so nice. Brandon Dearden, who's also so nice. I got to work on that show for a couple of years. So I was out there. Finally, after like the first year, they gave me a name. So my name was Kitty. And I had this big, giant curlers in my hair every day. I wore like vintage clothes. I felt like my mother. It was very funny. But the greatest thing about working on that set was how intimate it was. And it was a really beautiful independent studio in Brooklyn, which was not too far from where I live. And just being on there, the cast and the crew was so nice. And because of the intimacy of it, and the fact that the place where we were shooting was like the main FBI office, you got to see just the delicate detail they put into everything. They had like sank a coffee by the coffee machine, just the meticulous detail that they put on that set to make it appear to be that time period was unbelievable. But I think the thing that really stood out the most was how nice everybody was. Everyone was really nice. The crew, the cast, the other extras, if there was somebody new on set, they would just talk to you. You never felt like, I felt like this on other sets before when I was first acting, and I thought that extra work was the coolest thing in the world. I would be on sets and like they would treat us like cattle, but that set you could tell that everyone cared about every single person on that set, and I was really appreciative to be a part of that. And even though I didn't ever get a line, everyone knew who I was and they remembered me every year. And I even had, like, when they changed my desk from like the old character's desk to her belongings to mine and Kitty's desk, they put like a little shell kitty. It was terrifying looking, covered in shells. And one of the cast members actually shipped it to me, so I actually have it in my house.
Oh, that's cool.
My time there, yeah. I'm not going to rat him out for fear that someone will come and attack me and say, "You have a piece of set." No, I don't. That's a lie. I don't have that at all.
Yeah. My wife watched the show when I told her I was having you on. She was like, "Oh, I remember her."
Oh, that makes me happy. Yeah, sometimes I get to be like, "Is that you?"
Yeah.
Yes, it was. With my big hair. I miss my big hair.
Was there anything about the industry that you learned while working on that show that you didn't know previously?
I think, a lot of, in Manhattan, since the writer's strike from now almost 10 years ago, a lot of stuff has shifted in terms of industry in New York versus LA. So a lot of projects came to New York and filmed. So originally, when you think of New York sets, a lot of like available, if you're not going to get an under 5, if you're not going to get a role, let's say you're not a speaking role, let's just talk about extras. So I'll just go from there. Like, a lot of people think you're just doing like these feature films, you're walking in the background, you're a piece of furniture or whatever. But a lot of these big feature films, and I've been lucky to work on some stuff, it's a huge thing. You have like this, the holding is 1,000,000 miles away, and we have to cut out certain things, these certain scenes, and a lot of stuff I've done. Even when I was on Monsters, when I had an under 5 on Monsters, I was a guest star or something. Probably saying it wrong today. But we were on set. We went to a set. So it was one of the first times where I wasn't going to on location. We were always on the, like, not the lot. It was the first time I worked with an independent lot. So in New York City, there are 2 main studios. Steiner, which is it's the biggest studio, I believe, on the East Coast. I'm sure Tyler Perry is going to break that door down soon if he hasn't already. But Steiner Studios, which is the big one in Brooklyn, and then there's a Silver Cup that's in Queens. So what was unique to me is not going to one of those main sets where all of these shows are. It was just like a warehouse that they had transformed into. This is where all the American sets were. So it was just very intimate. So the thing that I learned the most was how to do like an intimate, highly professional shoot, where it's not, you're not in a studio that's 6 different shows shooting at once. It's just that show. It's just for that. It was just you had the ability to really connect with everyone. So the PAs, the AD, everyone, we kind of knew each other, where I don't think you get that chance on like big, huge feature films or some of these other bigger shows where, they're doing 6 different things at once. You have to make sure they're not overlapping and stuff. I think so. What I learned was just the joy of like a small independent production, because The Americans is technically like an independent drama. It's not, on one of the main networks. It was on AMC.
All right. Aaron, you got any questions? Oh, we can't hear him.
No. I know this Zoom audio hates us.
Yeah. No. See if I can get the chat pulled back up here.
Oh,
there he is. Okay, there we
Sorry.
go. Yeah, you might want to turn down a little bit there.
I did.
All right.
Hello.
Right.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Okay. No, I saw also you were on House of Cards. I mean, you've done a lot of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've done a different amount of stuff. Some of the stuff on there, like House of Cards, I did when it first, like, not when it first came out, I was on the latest. I did all the extra work on that, unfortunately. I don't have anything cool to say, but I've done a lot of great. There's like 2 House of Cards I put on my IMDb because I worked on House of Cards. It was such a like milestone for me, just because it was in Baltimore and I really loved House of Cards and I just wanted to be on set of House of Cards.
No, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you. No, it was a lot of fun to do that. Yeah, no, it's okay. Question,
No,
go ahead.
no, I just saw that it was on there, and I was like, man, she has done so much. And I have a friend, she lived up there. They moved back to Texas, but she's married to a real good friend of mine. But she did a spot on House of Cards. I think she was I guess a reporter or something.
Mhm.
Like, she didn't really have a big role, but I mean, she acted up there and everything. And I saw that, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, just yeah, I wanted to bring that up, and sorry.
No, you're fine. It was really cool over there because House of Cards was happening in Baltimore when Baltimore was really starting to become a really unique city for the arts. It was really like House of Cards really put a light on Baltimore as a potential to be like an entertainment hub, very similar to like I don't want to say like New York, but like Atlanta. It was trending, and then everything kind of trickled down to Atlanta. But Baltimore was really, really cool. I mean, there was a lot of independent studios down there. They're not really there anymore, but there are a lot of great projects were being filmed down there, and like on set. Like I love the fact that a lot of projects now are on location. They're not like filmed in LA with random slices of New York City. I'm like, you could just come to New York. Like, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, and you were talking about being on The Americans and how that I really like when they do stuff like from a different time period. It is neat.
Mm-hmm.
And just hearing you talk, I mean, it takes a lot to make that happen. And I really appreciate that kind of thing, especially if it looks authentic like that.
Yeah,
And I did watch that show for a little bit, but I really need to finish it too. But yeah, I always wanted to, talk to someone that was on a set like that, to where they had to transform, from what it looks like now to back then. That's just awesome.
Oh yeah, the costume department. I just thought like they must have had so much fun just finding pieces. Because like another thing is you had a really intimate amount of people because you had to put people in period clothing. They had like their like dressing room had just their wardrobe closet had these unique, beautiful pieces that were so 80s, and like from shoes to belt buckles to jackets to tweed coats. I mean, it was I think it was first like really timey period thing I ever did, and for it to be like the 80s, I thought was so cool because that's such an iconic time for style. But yeah, it was really, really cool to see all the ins and outs of it.
I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was a little kid.
So
in the 80s.
out of everything you've done, what's your favorite project that you've been a part of?
As an actor or as a producer?
We'll go with actor.
As an actor, I mean, I've done a lot of different stuff. I've been in some really cool indie films. Like I worked with one of the guys from The Warriors in a film that I was in, and so I've been able to touch on like a lot of indie films. I love independent films. So to me, being able to do legit, I think, was really important for me. Like I love all the big stuff, and I love just the glitz and glamour of all, but just the tiny things, I think, to me was really important because legit was one of the first projects I ever wrote, directed, and produced. So it was like the way beginning of my producing career. So to be able to have just a small part in something that I did that also like helped me book so much work after that. And it's something that I wrote that I didn't even, the part in legit that I gave myself, I left it open-ended. I was like, I'm going to cast somebody or maybe I'll do it. To be able to put myself in something which had always been a dream of mine that I had created was a really rewarding experience. And also to be able to work with all my friends on set was really just made it that much more better. So I think that for me, legit was really impactful because it held so much weight to so many other things. What else? I mean,
so you would say legit is like that's your baby. So that was probably your favorite acting, directing, and producing.
Well, no, like legit as an actor, I just loved the character because a lot of the time, so my character in legit, I played an escort because why not? It was very funny. Like that whole year, I had so many auditions for escorts. I don't know if it's because I'm blonde or whatever, but it was very funny. And I was trying to explain to my mom.
You.
Yeah, typecast. Well, the thing is, most of the time, because the industry has changed many ways in the last 20 years. And one of the first things is like normally when they see someone like me, they're like, "Oh, you're blonde. You're girl next door." I am not girl next door. I'm a bull in a china shop. I'm like, I'm not gonna make that happen for you. So it was really funny to me. And I really started being more conversational about who I was as an actor and really connected to a lot of people. That year, I just kept getting auditions, like really callbacks and like bookings as escorts. And it was so funny. I'm trying to tell my mom, like, Mom, like, don't worry. Because that same year is the year I booked Momsters. And in Momsters, I also played an escort. That was fun. I got to like model in lingerie and be like, Mom, I'm on TV. And no, Andre, I'm sorry. I love you. Don't watch it. And I got to like have my little come hither saying. So it was really, psychologically damaging to my mother, but it was fine. But for me, I think acting and legit, I wouldn't say it's like my baby per se. I've had a couple other projects I would say are my babies, but in terms of that was like the beginning of the career that I have now in melting both my producer life and my acting life.
Cool. So I'm gonna go with I'm kind of reading my questions out of order here. So this is gonna be like a hypothetical. Okay, so let's say that you're hired as a lead in a film, and you're allowed to pick your co-star and the director. Who are they?
All right. First qualifying question: is my co-star my romantic interest, or is my co-star just my co-star?
Just your co-star. Let's go with buddy cop movie, 2 female
buddy cop
investigators.
Movie. Oh wow. Okay, I think I'll start with director first. It's a lot easier. I'm really talking about Denis Villeneuve, or however you pronounce the last name, because of Dune right now. Because I love his work. I love Enemy, and I love The Rival, and I love. But
I think you cut out there for a second.
Oh no.
Oh, that's all right.
Oh no. But yeah, like I love David Fincher. He did like Fight Club and stuff. And he also did some of House of Cards. I love him as a director. Steven Soderbergh. I mean, there's so many directors. Is hard.
Yeah,
there's so many good ones. I know that's a tough question, but
yeah, I would probably say. Oh, I have a name, and now I can't remember. Rachel Talalay. I can't mess the name up. Or Lily Amirpour. I'm messing both their names up. But Rachel, she did Tank Girl. She's done a couple episodes of Doctor Who.
Rachel Talley. Yeah, Rachel Talley.
Thank you. Yeah. There we go. I knew I was butchering someone's name. She's great. She's in some Doctor Who. And there's also like, I could talk about directors all day long. It's like, that's the thing I look at the most, I would really say. And then, what else? A co-star?
Yeah, your co-star.
Co-star. Who's going to be my partner in crime? Oh man. Of course, now I'm not remembering any girl actresses' name. It'll come to me. Hold on. I'll just keep listing more directors while I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I would say, oh man, you know who I really like? I really like the girl who's in Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I forget her name. Watch, you're gonna say it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's her name. She's great. She was in Don't Breathe or Don't Speak or something. Mm-hmm. And she's also was in Castle Rock, which is such a good show.
Oh yeah, she was. I can't remember her name now. I remember the first time I seen her was in the Evil Dead remake.
Yeah. Evil Dead. She was in Evil Dead. I love her style, and I've been told like a lot of people say that I like act like her. So I think it'd be funny to kind of do something crazy. We'd both be like two crazy girls. We could do like a girl version of Superbad. That's what I want. Like Booksmart, kind of like that, but like the girl version of Superbad. I would, she's really, really cool. I really like what she's doing. Castle Rock, she's great. She plays like Jack Nicholson's character from The Shining's like great niece or something. Yeah,
that was really. I loved how they done that. That
was
cool.
I loved how they did that. Castle Rock is such a good show. Oh
I still haven't seen season 2 yet, but I'm going
I
to
haven't
get
seen
around to it.
season 2 either. I interviewed Lizzie Kaplan about season 2 at Hulu's Hulu party at Comic-Con. And like I was asking her about it. It's so cool. I need to now that I have the time, I just binge watch it in quarantine. Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
So you've done some a lot of like Comic Con or panels. Did you like doing that? And also you mentioned Tank Girl. Did you also cosplay as Tank Girl?
I did. I love how you definitely stalked my Facebook. Yeah, no, I love Tank Girl. Tank Girl is probably one of my most favorite films.
It's
I love
underrated.
cult films. It's exceptionally underrated. Thank you. Okay,
I watched it not too long ago. I love that movie.
Oh my God, Tank Girl is good for so many reasons. First of all, love Lori Petty. Can't go wrong with Lori Petty. Secondly, really it's like Fifth Element steampunk before Fifth Element came out.
Yeah.
And then the soundtrack is amazing. And also the original Tank Girl is taken from the comic books that were designed by the same guy who does all the drawings for Gorillas. So it's got like everything awesome. I love Tank Girl. Also, Iggy Pop has a cameo in Tank Girl. What's not to love about Iggy Pop? Yeah, I'm a huge nerd. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Just a little bit.
Just a wee bit. Yeah, I really love getting into the Comic-Con world, the fandom world, however you want to define it. I'm a correspondent for a channel called Fanbolt that actually is now going to be on my television network, which is pretty cool. So like we just helped support the virtual Pop Expo. We interviewed a lot of people. I'm a huge, massive Harry Potter nerd. So I get a lot of Harry Potter stuff, which is like probably the thing I geek out the most on.
Did you audition for any of those films?
I did not for any films. I didn't run any of the films, but my big goal right now is to be in the new set of films. So they're gonna have 5 films. They've done 2. The filming for the third Fantastic Beasts film is completely on pause because of the quarantine. But I've been talking to some of the executive producers and stuff. So hopefully, knock on wood, it'll happen. That's why I really became like a big Harry Potter fan for last year, because I just wanted to immerse myself in the world and like meet the people that I want to work with, which I think is the best way to do things. If you want to be a part of something, you just got to start. You just got to dive in head first. And you guys know that from the horror genre is just like that too.
Oh yeah,
it's huge.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge or obstacle that you've had in the entertainment industry? And do you think it's easier now with YouTube and everything?
I would say the biggest hiccup I have with the entertainment industry from a performer perspective is up until I really accepted that I could make my own career, which is what I've been doing now. I really, I don't have the biggest thing. I mean, I've done a lot on my resume. I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky. I've done a lot more theater stuff. Like I got to do some cool, there's a lot of like indie stuff on both ends. So like there's a lot of great indie films and indie shorts and web series that you could just perform and be a part of and do stuff now that I don't think you could do before. Like I was in an independent theater company. I got to perform in Russia. Like there's so many cool things that are small but mighty that I think are available now. So my biggest issue with the entertainment industry before then is just the fact that people for a very long time were living in a very succinct box where you felt like you had to fit in that box to become successful. And I fell into that trap for a while. Like I really haven't done anything really big in a couple of years because I've been really focused on making my own stuff and writing my own stuff and producing my own stuff. For me as an actor, it was just difficult because you get lost in that stereotype. Like you look like everybody else. How's anyone going to notice me? Oh, I have to, for lack of a better language, I have to kiss ass these other people or they're not going to take me seriously. And so once I changed my thinking on that and really disrupted my subconscious from like self-sabotaging myself, I really gave myself the permission to become successful. And so for me, when you're to your second question of, do I think it's easier now with like YouTube and things? YouTube, I have a love-hate relationship with. Now that we're in quarantine, I've seen a huge intake in YouTube from like a personal brand perspective. So if you want to be an influencer, but very specific, I've been told by my in-house, I have an in-house YouTube coach in my company, and she's like, you have to be specific. That's how you get successful on YouTube. But like for me, like I build television networks. I have my own television network. I could write and shoot and film my own series that I'm capable of doing that now and put it up online. Like my biggest inspiration right now is Phoebe Waller-Bridge. There you go. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. That is who my ideal co-star is. I don't know why I didn't say that.
It came to you.
It finally came to me. Yeah, no, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is my biggest inspiration right now. I would definitely say that you can literally wake up tomorrow morning and say, I want to do this and be known as this person and be seen by these people. And you can make it happen. I think there are still a lot of obviously obstacles because people don't know or they are still afraid of like the powers that be. But I think when you realize that this industry is actually a really small community, it's very small community of people that create really formidable relationships and work more on your relationship building and developing. Like that's why I love doing the Comic-Cons is because when you're like, I met my favorite playwright, who's one of my favorite directors, which I should have also said, favorite directors and screenwriters, because he was the showrunner and creator of the Van Helsing series. And I met him, and I was obsessed with his plays because I'm meeting him in San Diego, but I'm a New Yorker. And like Broadway, like, are you kidding? Like it was amazing to connect to him. And now I'm hopefully one day, knock on wood, going to be able to work with him. I've become friends with him because of these scenarios. I wouldn't be able to have met those people if I didn't try to present myself in as many ways as I could that I felt were very authentic to me. So I think to give you a much smaller answer, yeah, I think there's ways to become more successful, but you don't have to do it the same way everybody does it. And I think that's what I hated the most about the entertainment industry, that I think that a lot of people still live that life that you have to do it the same way everybody else does it to become successful. If you don't go to the fancy school and you don't get the great agent and you don't, have the right headshot and you don't have like 1 million points on your resume. I mean, to say that, no, you don't have to do that now. You could really say, I want to make something of myself and show my voice and why I belong to have a seat at the table. There's more opportunity to do that now where there wasn't before.
Right. My biggest problem, like I watch a lot of YouTube, probably like way too much. My biggest problem
We're all
is,
guilty.
yeah, my biggest problem with that is that I see a lot on there is like originality.
Mm-hmm.
Like people just copy like, oh, this is trending. I'm going to do this type of video now, but I'm not going to go into that. Aaron, you got anything else?
No, I mean, I always say this to everybody that creates their own stuff is I commend them. People don't understand that, yeah, the technology is here now and a lot of people have access to it, but it really, when it comes down to it, it's the drive that you have that makes you successful. Like Gary was saying, like you were saying, I mean, there's a lot, you either blend in or you stand out. And, there's just too much stuff out there and, people copying everybody, but I like how, you're doing your own thing. And yeah, you don't want to fall into the fold because you will be like everyone else, you will. So, yeah, it's awesome. And what you've done so far, and I can't wait to see what else you're going to do.
Oh,
I mean, everything, I just, people that create, I really appreciate, and I know it takes a lot to do. So.
I mean, look what you guys are doing. And first of all, thank you. That's easy for you to say. But this podcast is amazing to me. Like I started a podcast while I was in quarantine. I've been thinking to myself, I've been so busy building the last like year and a half. I've been so busy building my business that because I needed that. I wanted to make sure that it was stabilized so I could use that as my livelihood, and have the freedom to act. I made a promise to myself that I'm just going to like, if I'm not in it, I'm making it. If I'm not making it, I'm helping it get out there, regardless of what kind of business it may be, because now I've hosted and now I'm helping make podcasts and now I'm doing podcasts. It's so great to share. And right now, the one thing that I've seen in this time in quarantine is like a lot of people, because the entertainment industry has been put on hold in a traditional sense, a lot of people don't know what the next steps are going to be. But the best way to do that is keep making steps. So the fact that you guys even like saying, I'm going to do a podcast, I think, what'd you say? It's like 2 years in right now. This is your episode 81.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have that much content, there are people that say, I want to make a podcast and don't ever even start. I love people that make their own content. I love people that are just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, make it happen for myself. My friend, I'm actually staying with right now, my friend Victoria, who she works with me. She's also an actress, and we're both very much of the sense, like we've both done a lot of theater stuff. and we are both want to act, want to do more stuff. She's got her own television series that I help distribute and help produce the next season. And we were both like, we want to make our own content. Like we want to be known for people that paved the way, making our own content, having our own voices be heard, because we want to be seen in that light as like an actor or producer. There are so many opportunities. So for you guys to be like, I want to be a podcast and I want to talk about horror stuff because that's something that I'm passionate about, that's great. I love that. It makes me happy to see people just wake up and create stuff versus waiting for someone to, be like, no, you can do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if your network is looking for a good horror themed podcast, I know of one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, pray tell, what is the name of this podcast? Yeah, we're always looking for new stuff. Definitely. I would love to, find out more about like your goals and what you want to do, because I love podcasts. I love podcasts that have a video and audio component. I think, people want conversations. People want to spark conversations, and people want to learn. Like, I think it's
definitely
great that, you got this sweet ass setup and I'm just with my laptop and my headphones. I'm just trying to live my best life right now.
Right. All right. So I'll go and let you, if you just want to plug anything, like talk about you and tell us where they can find the network at.
You can find Star Baby Network at starbabynetwork.com. That's STARBABYNETWORK.com. We have some great shows up right now, and with some cool names involved. And then me personally, you can find me at Jordy_Starbaby on Instagram. That's the best way to get a hold of me. It's JORDIE_Starbaby. And I have a horror film that I'm an associate producer on that's coming out soon. So 6:45 film. It's about every day is the same, and the lead character keeps watching his loved ones die, and he wakes up and it's the same day all over again. It's very similar to Quarantine, so I figured that everyone should go check it out to really freak themselves out while they're stuck inside.
Nice. We'll have to have you back on to talk about that one.
Oh, she froze again.
I think she froze up again, yeah.
Yeah. It's all right.
I think I froze again.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I froze again.
That's fine.
I have awful service right now. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I'll fix it in post. No, I was saying you could
Fix it in post.
we'll have to have you come back on and talk about that film.
Oh, totally.
All right. So my final question before we get out of here, and
right.
I'm just going to ask it, and it may, you may get it, you may not. We'll find out though. Favorite doctor?
Oh, it's David Tennant. It really is.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, but it wasn't for sure.
I love David Tennant. David Tennant and Matt Smith are such geniuses of physical comedy. Although I love Eccleston, I love his accent, so he was great to get started. OG Doctor Who, I really didn't get that much into, so shame on me. But I do love David Tennant. I really love David Tennant. I haven't watched any of the new stuff.
David Tennant was good. David Tennant was really good. David Tennant and Matt Smith together in The 50th was awesome.
Oh, it was so good with John Hurt.
Yeah, it was great. And then, of course, my favorite's going to be Tom Baker, because that's what I grew up with. But yeah, the new one with Jodie Whittaker is really good. If you haven't watched it yet, she's doing an awesome job.
Well, then I'm excited because I had mixed feelings. Sometimes I get when they try to go so crazy diverse for the sake of diversity, I kind of get mixed feelings about
it
stuff.
It doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel forced. It's really good. I think what helps out.
She's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's done a really good job.
I love
I won't geek out too much about Doctor Who, but I just want to ask that question.
When you said favorite doctor, I was like, well, I'm more McSteamy.
I know. I was thinking, I was like, is this a trick question? It's Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. That is my favorite doctor. I pulled that one out there. Like, you're welcome. Little James Moore action to close out the podcast.
There you go.
No, but David Tennant, I always say like Peter Capaldi did a decent job, but he's not my doctor. Like, I really love a lot more of the physicality because he's such a timey-wimey guy.
Yeah. So Tennant was that was the first one you've seen.
No, Eccleston was the first one.
Okay, because most of the time the answer is the first one that you've seen is what people say. But yeah, that's cool. This was really fun having you on here.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can get you back on to talk about some more stuff. If you have anything, some new stuff coming out later down the road, I'd love to have you back on.
Definitely, yeah. No, I would love that. I'll start, rewatching all my OG horror films. And
There you go.
we'll really get into it.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with everything you have coming up in the future.
Thank you. You too. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.